Hi everybody, I'm Mary Rose Feldman. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher and an artist. Welcome to my studio for another class. And I'm excited today to share with you a tangle called IZA. I say IZA, it might be IZA, I'm not quite sure, by Adele Bruno. And we're going to I'm going to show you the step outs, and then I'm going to show you a tangleation of it that I did. This is something that I did in my Tangleations course that you can find in my Teachable School. But we're going to play around with it. We're going to do the basic, and then we'll do the tangleation, and then we'll take it to our tile. This is meant to be a gentle tangling class. I'm going to work on a square Zentangle tile, 3.5-inch square, but this can adapt to anything you want. And I encourage you to make it your own. I encourage you to add your own style if you get a different inspiration. I'm planting a seed, and I want you to feel comfortable to take it wherever you want it to go. So you can follow me and let it inspire you, and feel free to just kind of have the flow and the mindfulness and the joy and the gratitude that this Zentangle practice is all about. But as always, let's go ahead and start with a moment of gratitude. You are welcome to pause the video and have as long of a moment as you need. I'm going to stop and take just a few good deep breaths. Allow all of your senses to reconnect. Appreciate the moment. The affirmation for this class: great strength lies within me at all times. And you can have your own moment of gratitude. So this is the card that I shuffled and pulled for this class. This is part of my affirmation deck for tangling, and a lot of people like to see the card, so I always put it in the front. All right, it's always good to start with a good thought, good positive affirmation. Okay, so let's start with the step outs. Get my pen here. This is called IZA or IZA. And it is by Adele Bruno. Okay, so let me show you her step out first. This is kind of a leaf-ish tangle. So we have a stem that comes up. And then she puts a little kind of cap like that, and you'll see why in a second. There's a stem that comes up the center. And then it's a bunch of bubbly auras. So the first one, you start at the base here and you go wide. The first one kind of sets your center. So it's tethered to each end, but it bubbles out. And then as you do each aura, you're going to ride down this little U shape, upside down U shape that she puts there. So you might want to just watch how I do these auras. They all tether to the point though. So I go here, I go out, and I come in. I go out and I come in. And you notice that as you meet at the point, you keep meeting, that point is going to get darker and darker and darker. And then you can do different things. I think she decorates the outer rim. I'm doing this very fast just for the video. Oops, and I might have gone the wrong way on there. and you can do all kinds of things. You can darken in the center. You can, all kinds of tangulations you can do on this. I personally do not like the U at the bottom. I'm very comfortable with a takeoff and land on my own, and I think sometimes this U changes my pen stroke if I want to do it something different. So I'm comfortable just starting with my stem and maybe just a cap, and then I can ride down the stem instead of that little U. It's just a different look, but it's a really fun tangle. We are going to do something different. We are going to take this tangle, we are going to do a little orb, and we're going to make our stem kind of like this. We are going to bring that center up to a point and color it in. And we are going to weave those little bands on either side. So the first one that we want to do is about the middle. So if you were to look at this, you have these middle bands and you have these wide bands. We want to do one in the middle first. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go out and to a point, and then I want to aura that. And then we would do out and to a point, and I can aura that. And sometimes I'll aura on the inside. That one I could probably aura on the inside. The second one, just making sure I'm checking my notes. The second one, I'm going to go down and then come in on the inside and connect on the inside. And this is a bit organic, so your order of bands might be a little bit different. Okay, then I'm going to do another one that goes between the two if you can. You're kind of getting the idea. It goes between the two and then maybe connects. And I'm doing this really big. And then I'll do one in the center, so I love the weaving effect, and you can keep going and add as many bands as you want. I just do it in that order because that seems to get me the most overlap. If I do a middle one, a low one, and a medium one, and an inside one. So that's kind of why I chose that. And you can get a really, really interesting version of IZA. And if you want, you can fill in the center, just with a pod. Just kind of depends on your spacing, but that's how we're going to play with it. Definitely inspired by IZA, and it's a cousin of it. Okay, so I'm working on a square tile. I'm going to show you the tile that we're going to do, but I'm going to give you the caveat, like I said in previous videos. I don't mind showing you the tile, but I prefer that you not have it in front of you when you're tangling. If you're trying to copy my tile, it changes your pen grip, it changes your flow, it changes your focus. It no longer becomes yours, it becomes you trying to imitate my tile, and it really changes the tangling experience. But I will show it to you for reference so that you could see where we're going. I just ask that you have it your phone down or turned over so that it's not in front of you while you're tangling. Allow this to be your own. Your tile should look differently than mine when we're done. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to do one big IZA variation, and you can see I put orbs in the center of that instead of the stem. So we'll do that also. And then we're going to do a dragonair border. So nice, gentle tangling for this tile. The first thing we want to do is put in our stem, and I want IZA to take most of my space. So I'm going to put my orb pretty low, and then just kind of do an organic little odd stem up there. And then because I want to reserve the space for the orbs, I'm going to go ahead and do this channel first because I'm not going to be doing anything above or below that. So I'm going to let that one ride up to the point, and that will be arid. And then right up to the point. And I'm going to aura on the inside because I made that a little bit too wide. So you can always aura on the inside or the outside. And then I'm going to do my next band, which is the medium band. And you can also do these from the top down. I like to go from the bottom to the top, but however you do it is up to you. Let your hand be happy. Then I'm going to do a low one that comes in and cuts into the center. And my space here is a little bit odd. I think I'm going to do this middle section next. So none of this is an exact science. You may find you like a different order. This is all creative play. Ask the what if question. Okay, so now I feel like I need some wide petals, so I'm going to come here. And if you're ever unsure, the thing I do a lot is air draw. So I will come here and I will air draw my pen stroke. That also helps my hand memory when I air draw. It gets me into the right position. I'm going to have to turn my tile on this one. This one went a little bit wide, but that's all right. It's organic. Okay, and you can keep adding. I know I'm lopsided. That doesn't bother me. I'm just going to keep it right where it is, and I think it will be fine. I'm going to come into that center strip, and I'm going to add my orbs. And I added my orbs on this from the bottom to the top. So I did an orb at the bottom, and then I let all the other orbs going up to the top overlap just a little bit. You can certainly put full orbs in if you want. You can start in the center and go towards the top and towards the bottom. I'm going to color in those empty spaces, or as we call them, interstices. And then just to add some interest, I am going to I'm going to pick 2 bands and I'm going to color them in. So on my sample, I picked the top 2 and I left a highlight. And that worked for that design. For this design, I feel like I want to do the ones that I drew lowest. And I'm not going to do a highlight on them. So every tile is different. Every tile that we tangle is unique because we're tangling it in the moment. So remember that you don't always have to make the same decision on every single tile if you make more than one of them. So I switched to a graphic 1 micron, a little bit thicker pen, just to make the job a little bit easier. But you can use your O1 to color in. Just enjoy that process. That is part of the mindfulness. We're not in a rush. And I think I'm good with that. Just a reminder to take a nice good deep breath. Nice loose pen grip. Wiggle your fingers if you need to. Okay, and we are going to do Dragon Air on the outside border. Dragon Air is and that is Norma Burnell. And I'm going to show this to you right on the tile. I think you'll be fine doing this right on the tile. When I do this, going around a whole border, I put the orbs for my corners in first, or further along. I don't put all the orbs in first exactly. And here's what I mean by that. I'll come in and I'll put my orb in the corner right there first. And then I'll do my orb to the left. So notice the spacing. Just putting orbs in, and this one's going to be pretty close to my stem. And then I'm going to go to the right, a little bit of spacing. And then let me show you what we're going to do. So we're going to do that all the way around. And when I get towards the corner, I'm going to slow down so that I can get one right in the corner. For all of these orbs, you're going to choose an S-curve or a backward S-curve. It doesn't matter which you choose, but whichever one you choose, you're going to use it for the whole tangle. So it doesn't matter. I tend to like to go right. I'm right-handed. So I'm going to do a takeoff on that orb and do an S-curve right into the corner. Turn my tile and do that same pen stroke to the edge of the paper for every single orb. The same pen stroke. Now here that is going to go behind. Turn my tile, the same pen stroke off the page. Same pen stroke off the page. And I would do that all the way around for all my orbs. And then we're going to look at orb to orb. And it's the same pen stroke. Take off and land on the orb. Take off and land on the orb. But it's that same S-curve, even in the corner, same S-curve. Turn your tile, same S-curve. And you can play with this, and you might say, well, what if I do a C curve? What if I do a backward S? What if I do this type of a pen stroke? This is a great one to play with for the what if, because once you pick the pen stroke, it's the same for every direction. So you just put your orbs in. Now when I get over here, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to put my orb in right here, and I have a choice. Do I want to fill in with 2 orbs, or do I want to fill in with 1 orb? I think I'll fill in with 1. It's a little widespread, but that's okay. So it would be this coming into the corner, this going off the page, and then connecting my orbs. And there's no right or wrong answer. That's a little bit too wide. I probably could have put 2 in there, but that wasn't the choice that I made. There's your Dragonair border. And on the bottom stems of all of those, I like to do a little bit of rounding to help sell that little bit of a curve. Whoop, that was a little too. So rounding on this at the bottom, all I'm doing is coming in and doing a little curve on that inside curve and coloring it in. A little bit of a curve. This is an option if this is too tedious of a step, or you don't have a thin enough pen, then don't do it. You don't have to do a step that makes you frustrated. So I'm going to pretend that there's an orb behind here, so I'm going to bring in another stem. So when I say you don't have to do something if it's uncomfortable or frustrating, here's my caveat on that. Always be open to learning. And learning makes you uncomfortable. Doing something that you've never done before makes your hand uncomfortable. When you're learning, that's not a bad thing, because you're forming new muscle memory and you're learning new skills. But to be in that space all the time can drain you. So just have a balance of learning new things, trying new things, but still have that comfort zone that you could go back to. Okay, so I've done all of those. See how it just gives you a little bit of weighting. And then on the inside of Dragonair, I'm going to do a little aura. Just a nice thin aura. Keep my writing hand nice and relaxed. Turn my tile to fit my hand. I'm not trying to do this all in one stroke. I'm doing nice, simple strokes till my hand is in an awkward position. So I went a little far on that corner. That's okay. Not going to worry about it. And there we go. All right. So take a good deep breath, grab your graphite. Wiggle in my fingers a little bit. For the graphite on IZA, we'll shade IZA first. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do, if you have a big enough stretch in the center, you can do both sides of your orbs. If it's a little bit narrower, you can do just one side. I need to fix my point is a little fuzzy, so I just cut it off. So we're still trying to maintain the center there being bright and just darkening the edges. Then I'm going to shade underneath the orb into the stem a little bit. Let that fade off. And then I'm going to shade whichever bands are behind. So always maintain darknesses and lights. Darks and lights. So when I do something like this, I always look for the balance. So when I blend this out right here, I'm trying to keep that little white spot, that little sparkle. But when I blend this out, I can go a little further because I've got some space. When I blend this out, I can go a little bit further. So shading is all about maintaining that dark and light balance for the tile that you have and the space that you have. So rules are great, but you have to be able to adapt those rules to whatever tile you're doing. And I'll do a little bit on the bottom of each of my bands. I think it could benefit from that. And a little bit at the top if it makes sense for the ones that are up there. Okay, so I would probably stop there. And just a reminder that I'm going at my own pace for the video size only. Please pause and enjoy the tangling process at your own pace. If we were live in class, I would be waiting for everybody to finish and enjoy the process. Okay, and the last step we're going to do on this is the inside of Dragonair, that inside frame where we have that aura. And you'll notice I'm doing little small circles, ovals I'm still on the side of my graphite. Couple lines I'm ending up going over my area, coloring a little outside the lines. I don't mind that. All of these classes are meant to be done relatively quickly, although we're not rushing, with gentle supplies, gentle tangling, and a good dose of imperfection. I say it all the time in my classes. The imperfection of your hand is what makes your art beautiful. You don't want it to be machine looking made. The imperfections give it energy and give it your style and give it your personality. So let that be. We could shade, just one thing that's glaring out at me before I put my chop on, we could give a little bit of shading to where the stem overlaps the Dragonair border. Separate that a little bit. You can shade the individual bands between Dragonair if you choose. I did not do it during class and in my sample just for timing's sake, that's it. But you could certainly come in and shade in between those. Remember to put your chop. Sign the back. Take a nice good deep breath. Moment of gratitude for your tangling time and creativity play. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that class and a little bit of tangle time for yourself and a good breath and a moment of gratitude. If you want a free class from me every month, all you have to do is join my email list. And I do a free full class every month that's usually about an hour and a half. You will also get access to a private web page that has all of the studio classes for that month and prior that you have full access to at any time, and that's a private web page, not public, that only the people on my email list get. And all I do is send a Monday email. It gives you updated class information about my upcoming retreat every year, new things that are coming out, interesting things happening in the studio. So every Monday you'll get an email with all of that information plus an affirmation to help you boost you through your week ahead. So check the link in the description here and also in the description of this class, and you'll be able to sign up on your own. You can unsubscribe anytime. If those needs don't fit you anymore, you can unsubscribe at any time. There's no obligation. I'd love to have you here for whatever time you have available, for whatever time in your creative and mindful journey. I'd love to have you here. So thanks for watching. Bye.